I want to clear the air on this, and I want to seek your indulgence. I was on a radio station on Kumasi where I spoke extensively about Thomas Partey.
Yeah.
And I said that I think he should be made the captain of the Black Stars going forward. And I think that Ghana should have a coach who will maximize Thomas Partey so that we'll benefit from him. He's got 5 more years, in my view, to play at the top. And in doing so, he needs to check his diet. He shouldn't be eating wache there, tuzafi there. These are things I say without associating it with him. But one of these bloggers have gone to quote me and they said, I said somewhere, Ziga told me that. Ziga never told me that.
I remember the
Ziga
incident.
never said this to me.
It's created some
come on, man. What? They don't have jobs to do or what? They want to make money, they should find a better way to make money. Don't accuse the young. I have said that I want to meet Partey myself. Nobody likes him and love him better than I do. That's why I'm saying he's the biggest thing we have gotten after Michael Essien. So use him to benefit Ghana. He should check his diet. The coaching should cease so that he move forward and do things appropriately so that we can benefit from him. These are things I say and I don't associate. If Partey is in front of me, I'll tell him. Because of the way I love him and I think we can benefit from him. And I'm happy they said the injury is not anything serious. I think if they were to lose him, they would not win the league.
Because Sambi Lokonga yesterday, Friday night when he came on, there's a highlight of his behavior during the goal. And he's just dancing around.
No, I looked at that thing again. I looked at that goal again. Odegaard will have to show some bit of respect. If you critically look at that scene, you don't blame the young man for that.
And I think that there's an interesting situation brewing between.
When you watch him, he was kind of in his own zone, not watching anything.
No, he had tracked, he had followed.
No, I'm talking about Sambi Lokonga specifically. If you watch him in that sequence, it's almost like he doesn't know what to do. He looked a bit confused. And I'm just saying, if Thomas Partey was there, Partey probably would have reacted better to the situation. So,
you see, Lokonga is not Partey.
Oh, yeah.
He can never be Partey. How often does he play?
Well, that's
He's
exactly
not experiencing the situation regularly. You get better as a player when you go through the scenes. So you know how to,
which is probably why the Moses Caicedo thing has become such a big. They're thinking to themselves, look, if Partey misses one game and we bring Caicedo in, who's one of the better midfielders in the league.
That's not the large.
They are hoping to bring in Caicedo. They are saying they are going after Declan Rice in the summer.
A lot happening with Arsenal. Let me read a few messages that have been coming in. United, a lot more. It was a lot more competitive in that game, especially in the second half. Reading came into their own. They got a consolation goal, 3-1. Is how that one. And the coach. Let me start off with you. Let's start off with that United game. Interesting game there. United making quite some changes in the mix, but in the end, comfortable win. What struck you the most? There was Ghanaian interest as well. Don't forget, and the add up and your good friend Baba Rahman.
Yeah, I think in that first half, Reading came. They had a game plan, very compact, 5 at the back. Don't give anything away, stick to the game plan, and make it very difficult. So I think it was a 80-20% ball possession, where United keep playing. But the problem with United in that first half, they were not passing the ball faster. And everything that was done in front of the Reading defenders. So it became very clear that in order to break them down, one of the midfielders, either Casemiro himself from deep or Ericsson, these two, one of them will have to actually get involved in the attacking play, move off the ball to create the space. So if the pass is right and Reading were unable to pick him up, then of course he opens. And look, the audacity with which he scooped the ball into the back of the net clearly tells you that this is a player who's seen it all. He's won everything at club level. And he's made everybody look good.
That's a finish that will make a lot of strikers jealous.
Exactly. He's made every single United player better. His presence alone, the way he does his thing, his execution of passing, tackles, determination, pushing everybody along is absolutely brilliant. And once the first goal went in, I think it was no longer a contest. The second goal followed immediately after that. And then the third goal. And clearly, on the part of Ten Hag, he needed to pull. Already, the game has cost Man United Christian Eriksen. He went off with a stretcher, and then most likely may miss the next 2 or 3 games for United. But having said that, is the price you pay if you are playing against these championship teams who know nothing by to be very, very physical. On the part of Spurs, again, the result wasn't in doubt, but it is nice to see Son Heung-min score. I
think he has only 5 goals this season.
Yeah. And for me, look, he's that player. He's a good player who's been very consistent. But since he sustained that
facial injury,
even before that, he was a bit off this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I remember one of the goals.
He's been very consistent.
One of the games he scored where he was upset and really took the mask off and threw it away.
Yeah. Since he sustained that injury, he's never been himself. But look, I don't think he's gone bad overnight. The quality is there. It's just a matter of maybe the World Cup, he's a bit of hangover and all that. Next season, we'll see him come good again. He's a very, very good player. And if Spurs can get him to be firing all cylinders from now to the end of the season, they may have a huge seed.
So just quick thoughts on Danjuma.
I want to actually ask Coach something before we go. We are talking about defensive midfielders. Where would you rank Casemiro, Partey, and Rodri? Because this was something that came up.
Casemiro, Partey, and Rodri?
Rodri.
Oh, well, look, Casemiro is the best of all of 3. Nobody argues that.
Who's next?
Then I think if you look at the importance of Partey to Arsenal, because without Rodri, Man City tends to win football games easily. But statistically, it tells you that if you were to take Partey out of the Arsenal setup, they tend to lose more games than they win. So in that regard, I would say Partey before Rodri. But look, they all come nowhere closer to Casemiro. He's a specialist in the position. He's done it for years, continuously at the top level. He's won everything with it at club level. So you don't, and we all thought he was coming for a paycheck at Man United. But you can clearly see the vast difference in class when he's there and when he's not there. So look, if I'm a specialist in the position, you can only learn from me. And I think Partey and Rodri will look at Casemiro and learn from him.
Hello there and welcome to Scorecard here on Citi TV, the one show that takes you through the scores and everything numbers from the weekend. My name is Benjamin Nketia. Today my good friends are here to help me to break everything down for all of you watching us from everywhere around the world. Big shout outs to my people from Nigeria. Also big shout outs to everybody watching us from the south of Africa, Uganda, Rwanda, SA and everywhere else. So big shout outs to our Ghanaians as well, the northern region. A lot of people send messages from the north, Kumasi, Sunyani, and everywhere else you are watching us from. Today on the menu, it's interesting. The Chan tournament is still ongoing, but sad part is that Ghana's Black Galaxies have been knocked out of the competition. It was a sorry performance, and Niger rightly deserved to go through to the next round. Algeria, the home side, remained impeccable in the competition. So we're bringing you some highlights of that. It was an FA Cup weekend. The league took a break. The FA Cup took center stage. And so we had some FA Cup action. Big upsets, of course, on the card. So we'll bring you that as well. And then we'll get to some action from La Liga and also the Italian Serie A. So there's a lot to digest today on the show. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I'll introduce my guest and then we'll get today's show on the road. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Citi TV. Thank you for joining us. The text and WhatsApp lines will be on your screens there so you can send in your thoughts, whatever you are thinking from this weekend sporting action. We are happy to hear from you. Coach Christopher Nimley is here looking crisp in your yellow Citi TV shirt. What have you been up to this weekend?
Charlie, it's been a very difficult weekend. Difficult in the sense that I had to go for a funeral in Kumasi. That was why I wasn't able to be on Sports Panorama on Friday. But thank God I went and I'm back. But again, extremely difficult because of the lackluster performance of the Black Galaxies. Look, absolutely. And what even made me...
Did it give you anything to smile about?
What even made it worse was when I saw videos of our mediocre FA president jubilating with the Ghana flag when we defeated Sudan.
Yeah.
Disturbing everybody in the hotel with this I know my level nonsense. You see, you cannot be behaving like that. Nketia,
you should calm down.
If you are the FA president,
calm down
you cannot be celebrating mediocrity like this. Look at what has happened to our team. We've been embarrassed and disgraced under his tenure in every tournament. What is this? Look, I am begging the football people. I've knelt down. I'm begging
you are on your knees?
I'm on my knees. This man should never be retained. Football people won't qualify. Disgracing Ghana left, right, center. What is that?
That's a damning verdict of what has happened in Niger. So what's been up this weekend?
It's been interesting. You know, my Sunday, my team ruined my Sunday. They ruined my. We'll talk about it, I'm sure, but they ruined my Sunday. So, but Saturday was. I had a nice restful Saturday. You know, I went on a walk. It was nice. Got some fresh air, but they ruined it. So
with a young lady, eh?
Yeah.
I like that. Restful Saturday, you know, taking little walks and all of that. Let's quickly get into the CHAN tournament, and let's start off from host nation Algeria. They were up in their game against the Cote d'Ivoire. They managed to win that game by 1-0. So they are through to the next round, which is the semi-final. Let's check out the highlights of that game. We'll come in here and break it down. Yes, so Algeria going through to the next round, Senegal going through to the next round, Madagascar also going through to the next round. So Algeria play Niger, and then Madagascar plays Senegal. Very tasty encounters there. The Malagasys, I don't know if you remember, in the 2019 AFCON served up some really good football. They took the competition by surprise. They are doing the same for the CHAN tournament. So, like we say, you can choose to acknowledge it or you can choose to ignore it. The smaller nations are getting better at football. The countries that think that they are football royalty are gradually being kicked off the pedestal. And Ghana is one of them. We'll come to Ghana's case especially in a bit. But Coach, quick thoughts on Algeria. One goal project still. Penalty in the final minutes still takes them to the next round.
Yeah, look, like I said last week, I think they are playing what is called tournament football. If you're a coach, you are much more comfortable in a major tournament like this when your team are playing in a manner that requires just a goal to go through. Because they are so solid at the back, they hardly give chances away. And it isn't that they are not creating. They are creating lots of chances. That is where you will be worried. That per the chances that they normally create, they should be scoring more than one. But having said that, if they are able to put one in the back of the net, you are home and dry.
It's still not considered a goal, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You are home and dry. And that is what makes it even more interesting. So I can't wait for that semi-final game against Niger because they are also yet to concede. But they have scored more than a goal in a game, which means that they could look much more potent up front than the Algerians. But look, I watched the Algerian Cote d'Ivoire game. I think it was one of the best games of the tournament. Highly competitive. Tactically brilliant on the part of the two coaches.
Considering both teams had red cards.
Yes, because there were moments in the game where instead of 11v11, we had 10v10, where the two teams had been shown red card each. And the manner in which the game was stretched. But tactically, I enjoyed the Ivorian coach. Because you could clearly see that in addition to the 10 men of Algeria that he was playing against, he was playing against the supporters as well.
That's true.
The manner in which they contained the Algerians, the confidence with which they would get on the ball and take the steam out of the game was absolutely beautiful. There were moments in that where you could clearly see that the Algerians were a bit jittery. Once they decided to go for it, they left huge gaps behind. That is where I felt that the Ivorians were a bit not up to the task, because if they had proper attacking players who could see the gap and go and punish the Algerians, I think the Algerians were there for the taking. But having said that, look, the standard of this tournament seems to get better year after year. My only worry is the fact that we are not seeing enough goals, more or less to commensurate.
It's been a very defensive-oriented tournament.
But hey, you don't blame them. If I'm going to a major tournament, we say it is solid defending that wins you a tournament, not goal. That is why a goal is absolutely brilliant, or more than enough to take you beyond the finish line. So that was another beautiful game. And then the other game that we watched was the game against
Senegal and Mauritania.
Look, that game was so, again, beautiful. You could see proper technique, tactics on the day. The two teams knew what they had to do. They had a system of building attack. They had a way of defending when they had to. So no wonder they were separated by that silly tackle by the Madagascar. They played against who? Madagascar. By the Mauritanian player who happened to gift Senegal the penalty. Of course, if it is that tight and it is that difficult to break down, when you are given the sport kick, you make sure you capitalize on that and take an advantage. But every single minute of that game were kept on our seat because you could enjoy the flow of the game. And then you talked about Madagascar, the team that topped our group. They are playing some delicious stuff. Look, the manner in which they touch the ball twice, control, touch and move, control, touch and move. I was looking at them and said, what? Are we serious? Is that Madagascar? I couldn't believe it. So whatever they did to the Black Galaxy in that first game wasn't a fluke.
Nope.
They did it to Sudan. They've battered everyone. It's simple. Look at the way they play. Control, touch, move. Control, touch, move. Control, touch, move. Nobody's unnecessarily. And if you're a coach and that is the way your team is playing, there's always spaces in and around the opponent to exploit. So look at all the goals they scored. They were not difficult goals at all. They picked the pass through the opponent and their strikers were through on goal and they finished it. Apart from the first goal that brought a bit of brilliance from the left-footed Keller from the number 7, the guy in the number 7 shirt. Everything they did was, I think if they play like that against Senegal, they beat Senegal all day. Because it's like they are avoiding the physical aspect of the game. And I believe that is the best way to play the game. It's supposed to be a very physical game. So if you can play in a way that will allow you to avoid the physical aspect, it means you are doing the right thing. That is the way that we used to play our football. That's the way we used to play our football. Now, teams have come. I remember during the days of Kwesi Nyantakyi, then the same Madagascar people, they came here to study the way we were doing our things. They have taken the knowledge and they've built upon it, they've built up, and it's beginning now to reflect on whatever they are doing with their football.
I also just feel like the countries that have taken their league seriously, have taken their grassroots football seriously, it's manifesting at the tournament. Senegal, we saw it, it's manifesting in black and white. They've taken grassroots football really seriously. You're seeing it in what they are doing. Cote d'Ivoire have always been, I think, pioneers in football or talent development on the continent.
Go to the north, go to Algeria.
It's always been one of those things for them.
I think the absence of Morocco in this tournament was something. I mean, it took away something from the tournament. We all wanted to see them because of their exploit at the World Cup. We wanted to see their club sides, their women team are dominating on the continent of Africa. So we wanted to see them. But they not being there took something away. But even that, you cannot fail to admit the beauty and the standard of some of the football that are being exhibited by some of the countries.
So just quick thought. I mean, what has impressed you most about countries like Madagascar? Because they were not supposed to be doing the things that they are doing in this competition.
I think what you said exactly, like countries like Madagascar, when you look at the semi-finalists, these are not really giants of African football. Niger, Madagascar, even Senegal, is recent, they've had a good run, but they only won their last AFCON just recently.
Their first
AFCON just recently. So it shows that outside, and even Algeria, how many AFCONs have Algeria? Maybe two or three. Two, you know, so they are not a powerhouse in the sense. So we are not seeing the Nigeria, Cameroon, Ghana, Egypt. Where are they? We are not really seeing them go to the latter stage. So it just shows that African football is becoming a more level playing field. And back to what Coach said, looking towards the semi-finals now, I think Algeria still have a very good chance. Algeria are playing Niger.
They are playing
But
Niger.
I'm a bit scared for Algeria because their first choice keeper has got himself sent off. So he won't play the next game. And that could be the difference because they've had a great defensive record. They are doing well. But that synergy between keeper, goalkeeper, between the keeper and the center backs and the defense is so important. And if the new keeper comes in and that chemistry is not there, they could make some mistakes and Niger could get the victory. Then you look to Madagascar and Senegal. With all due respect to Senegal, from what we've seen from Madagascar, every game they've played,
they've been like a gear above everybody
else.
They're
a level above everyone else. So it will be a very tough match for Senegal. It's not that they can't do it, but if Madagascar beat them 3-1, 3-0, or something like that, it won't be a surprise because that's how well Madagascar has played. And going to a tournament to say that, remember when we were on this show, I think before the tournament, we said, Madagascar is the team in the group we should target to win, if you remember.
Exactly, yeah.
We said
Exactly.
it before, and here we are talking about the fact that no team has come close to them when it comes to the way they've played. So it's very interesting. It's great to see, and sometimes it's nice to be wrong in a way like that.
Exactly. Let's get to the Ghana versus Niger game. This time we weren't wrong. We've been skeptical about the Galaxy's all competition, and they put the stamp on why we've had doubts about them. They were beaten convincingly by 2-0, rightly dumped out, and we'll be seeing them in town very, very soon. Let's get to the highlights of that particular game. So Niger beating Ghana convincingly. So let me start off with you. 2-0, some sumptuous goals scored in that game over there. But in all, we didn't look like a team serious about getting a win. It's like we just got beaten, and then just disappeared into the distance. I don't know.
I mean, if you look at the highlights, I mean, the highlights don't tell the full story, but just look at the highlights.
Yeah.
There was only one team playing. It's like we were there for them to kind of show their skills
Exactly
and
what
show
I'm
their
saying.
level.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The second goal was a great goal. I don't think there's many keepers in the world that can save that.
Yeah.
Let's not blame, but the closing down, the things before the goals, that's what we have to talk about.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough closing down. And even the first goal we conceded, our defense in the highlights, there were too many moments where it looked comical. There was the first header that Danlad kind of had to dive and save.
Yeah.
You are making a great save from a back pass from your own teammate. Then the goal comes, and maybe Danlad was beaten. Let's give Danlad the benefits of the doubt that he wasn't going to get it, so the centre back had to come there. But that attempt at a clearance was so poor. It was just painful to watch because that was the two goals were so avoidable. I mean, I won't say we're better than Niger or anything like that, but everything that was shown on the screen, everything that we saw in these highlights, we're second best. So we deserve to go home. Honestly, I was surprised we beat Sudan. I thought we were a bit lucky in that game. We got away with it, and we were really shown what this tournament was about today. I mean, the day we played, yesterday, last night. So it's just disappointing because we've not had, like Coach Nimi rightly said, our last few tournament appearances everything has been disastrous. We had our worst ever AFCON.
Yep.
We lost to the mighty Comoros, where everything went wrong against Comoros. We went to the World Cup. We could have qualified. The whole Uruguay thing happened. Again, another disappointment. And you come to the CHAN, where you think, okay, as a top team in Africa, we can do something. We really haven't shown. We've not given a good account of ourselves. So it's very painful to watch, and it just shows Ghana football is really in a tough place. So we hope for better things to come. We have a nice, exciting crop we saw at the World Cup. We're the youngest team at the World Cup. There was some promise shown there. Let's hope we build up on it and we build for the future.
Well, it's all about decisions, really. Who will be appointed next head coach?
A very big decision.
What kind of mandate will he be given to work heading towards the AFCON? What will happen to this CHAN team in the wake of this disaster? Coach, I mean, Arno Walker and Prosper Nate Ogum are two of the best coaching minds we have in the country. Now, this tournament, we've been dumped out at this stage. Like you rightly said, if Morocco had been in, we wouldn't possibly even be here. What do we do with our CHAN? Because during Konedo's era, it wasn't great. We had a long drought. We've come back here. We've exited again. Where exactly do we go?
Yeah, look, truth be told, we can only solve the problem at the CHAN if we look at our domestic league properly. That is where we should be focused on. How to make our league better. How to make the quality of our league better. And that should start from the grassroots. You see, it is so shameful and so embarrassing when you have the FA president says that in assigning roles, positions to people in Ghana football. He said, I'm going to be the chairman. I want to be the chairman of grassroots football. Because that is where I believe, as a president, if we were to get right, it would transit all the way to the very top. But under the tenure of Ketu Kliku as grassroots juvenile football chairman, everything is messed up. I do coast football. I'm actively involved in coast football. Last season, the Coast League got truncated. We couldn't even play even the first round. They say we should stop and cancel it. So they choose who the winners were. And we said, I don't like going for the meetings because anytime I step at the coach meet, at the district meeting, it's like I tend to say a lot. And I realized that those men there, they know the truth, but they will just not be allowed to do their work. So it's better you don't go. So our juvenile football is completely messed, not only for the boys, even for the women. As we speak here today, I don't believe our Black Queens will qualify for the next 3 tournaments because we don't have proper foundation. Our under-17 women's team, who should be feeding the under-20 for them to feed the Black Queens, has been banned.
And to contend with, we'll have to play Nigeria every time.
That's it. And anytime we meet them, we'll get beat. As for the women, home and dry, we should forget about it. Now, when you look at this team, Nketia, there was nothing Ghanaian about this team. Apart from the fact that Ketokreku and Bogna Abobo or Sekre, my own boss, they were jubilating and waving the Ghana flag in the hotel when we defeated Sudan, celebrating mediocrity at its best. I couldn't believe it when I saw the video, when they were singing, I know my level, I know my level. For beating Sudan? Are you serious? This is your true level. You have seen your smoothness level. I expect them to do even the same, having been beaten by Niger. You spoke about Anawaka and Prosper Gogu. Look, I was the same person who sat here and said, I believe that the strength of this team was the technical team. I'm going to be the same person to say that the 2 gentlemen were the most disappointing part of the team. I'm not going to hide my feelings.
How so?
Did you watch the game yesterday?
I did.
We had no plan B. And when you have Anawaka comes to the press conference and say that the video he watched of the Niger team, when they came, they played differently. So if you have mapped up the strategy based on what you have seen, and the opponent comes and he's doing absolutely different things from what you had rehearsed upon, what should you do? Should you still stick to what you had rehearsed on, or you should now do what is known as in-game coaching and try and coach your boys through the difficult situation? But you left them to use that tactics, that idea to counter something that you have not rehearsed for. What were they doing there?
It is very surprising.
It is shocking.
In the Ghana Premier League, we've seen Anawaka make tactical changes to win games. So I'm wondering what happened.
You won the league with Kumasi Asante Kotoko, making tactical changes when games were being played. Now, this is the most serious part of what I saw yesterday. Nketia, so every single change that Anawaka and Prosper Ogun did yesterday, when we needed tactical changes to come and rescue the situation, all the changes they made rather weakened our team. I couldn't believe it. The Vision FC player, Otu, we are chasing the game and you are changing according to a template that you've always used.
Let's wrap it up for me before we go for our first break.
Football people, like I knelt down at the beginning of the program. I'm ready to do that even on the street of Ghana. Don't allow Ketokreku to take this country to any major tournament again. This is the last. Vote him out with intent, because our football is dead. Our domestic league, our women's football, everything is dead under this man. After normalization, after what we went through, this is what he's given back to us as FA president. Sack him quick. Vote him out quick, so that Ghana football, look, we are, like Kobran Yeboah said today, this man could sit down together with the FA as FA. They could allow budget to be, draw a budget for us to give every management member, $100,000. This man, Prosper Ado, they sat down and prepared the budget for the ministry to approve $100,000 for Alaji Gruza, for Sami Kufuor, for Mark Ado, and all those people who call themselves management members of the Black Stars. Kobran Yeboah said it today. There's no legacy project. At least an Akwesi Nyantakyi, we're doing honorarium, where the appearance fee of 3 players is put together and shared among the management members. Yeah. And Akreku, no honorarium. Every member of the management, $100,000. Now we can speak. They can't take us to court. They will take Kobran Yeboah to court because he said it first. So I'm quoting the SWAG president. He said every member was given $100,000. I'm promising the people of this country very soon. Maybe this Friday, if I get the way I've been promised the document, if the document, Sports Panorama, if we don't train number 1 this coming Friday, then I've not gotten my document. But I'm determined the document will come. Ket,
interesting thoughts there. Coach thinks that leadership in Ghana football needs to change because the football, it's not footballing really as things stand now. Let's take a break here on the show. When we come back, we'll give you some highlights from the Ghana Premier League, and then we'll talk about some FA Cup action. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Citi TV. Let's now get to the Ghana Premier League. Some action from this weekend. Accra Hearts of Oak were in Takwa to take on Mediama Sporting Club. Hearts having beaten Mediama in Takwa since 2016. It was time to break that jinx. Let's get to the highlights of that game.
Mayfie's ball in, headed back by Atinga. Here is Clinton Apia. Can they score the opening goal? Hearts of Oak and Obin Jr. finally score for the Phobians. Mediama down by 1-0, and it is Kojo Obin Jr. The defending wasn't good in the Mediama territory, allowing the Phobians to take advantage. The ball from Amankwa Mayfield was good. Atinga's header straight back at Clinton Apia. Did well to get to Obin Jr. Kojamwa could look to have won it, but the ball gladly fell back to Obin Jr. He made no mistake, and he put the Phobians ahead. He lost it, but clearly it belonged to him, and it came back to him. It's Mediama Neol Obin Jr., the goal scorer for the Phobians.
Welcome back. So just quick thoughts. Hearts of Oak winning in Takwa for the first time in a long time.
No, it's a big win for them because their table is very bunched up. I think if you look from about 1st to 7th or something, it's only 3 points between them. So you need to keep getting the wins, keep getting the results. I know a lot of people saw this on their calendar and expected Hearts to draw or lose because it's been so long since they've won there. But they've gotten the results. They are still in the race. And Zlatko Matic is still making things happen. We'll see whether he can be as good as Samuel Boyd because right now they're out of the FA Cup. So if you look at it, if he doesn't get at least 2nd in the league, that's the minimum he can get to keep his job, in my opinion.
He has to win the league.
I don't know about he has to win, but
if it doesn't, that is the standard set by the people at Hearts of Oak.
I think that even without Boydou's example, Accra Hearts of Oak, Asante Kotoko expect to win the league every season. And so if you're coming, especially, and I'm sure Matic is being paid some good money.
But I find it interesting that Hearts, we are saying this for Hearts, because remember how long they went without winning the league.
That's what I'm saying. That and they didn't see it like that. The managers of the club felt that it was because Samuel Boyd won them the league.
Yeah.
When they said he couldn't defend the league title, that's why they sacked him.
Yeah. If that's the thinking, then he has to win the league. But I'm just saying, we were here. Hearts went over a decade without winning the league.
Exactly.
Which was an aberration because in Ghana football it doesn't happen like that. But they went a decade, so I think it's a bit unrealistic to expect you win the league every year. But top 2 for Hearts, it should be top 2. Worst case scenario, third, a close third.
But you
worst
see,
case.
just a quick point. You see the league log. Is it the way it's looking? What does that tell you about our league?
Well, it's
the quality between the team. There's not a big gap.
Everybody's at the same level.
Yeah.
Nobody's raising the bar to challenge the others to catch
There's no elite team in the league
at all.
And it always shows when we go into play continental games. It's shown in the Chan tournament. Let's get to the FA Cup and some big games being played over the weekend. Manchester City were up against Arsenal. That game was the toast of the pile this particular round. City fielded a pretty strong squad. So did Arsenal. Arsenal had to withdraw Partey at halftime precautionary. Had some issue with his ribs, but apparently he's fine and he'll be up for their next game. Let's check out the highlights of that one. So Manchester City having too much for Arsenal, progressing to the next round of the FA Cup. Coach, just quick thoughts on that. Nathan Ake happens to be scoring a lot of goals lately, but this was a game I think Arteta was thinking about and said, you know what, league over FA Cup, because he watered down his side a little.
Whether he did that on purpose or not, I think it's a game that was meant to assess what the two teams are all about when it comes to facing each other. This was a dress rehearsal to what is to happen on the 15th of February.
Yeah.
At the Emirates, and then in 2 weeks, 3 weeks' time at the Etihad. Arsenal did show that they can match Man City both for both. I can't wait for the league proper, because that is where I think the two teams will go at it. But having said that, I want to clear the air on this, and I want to seek your indulgence. I was on a radio station on Kumasi where I spoke extensively about Thomas Partey.
Yeah.
And I said that I think he should be made the captain of the Black Stars going forward. And I think that Ghana should have a coach who will maximize Thomas Partey so that we'll benefit from him. He's got 5 more years, in my view, to play at the top. And in doing so, he needs to check his diet. He shouldn't be eating wache there, tozafi there. These are things I say without associating it with him. But one of these bloggers have gone to quote me and they said, I said somewhere, Ziga told me that. Ziga never told me that.
I remember the
Ziga
incident.
never said this to me.
It's created some
come on, man. What? They don't have jobs to do or what? They want to make money, they should find a better way to make money. Don't accuse the young. I have said that I want to meet Partey myself. Nobody likes him and love him better than I do. That's why I'm saying he's the biggest thing we have gotten after Michael Essien. So use him to benefit Ghana. He should check his diet. The coaching should cease so that he move forward and do things appropriately so that we can benefit from him. These are things I say, and I don't associate. If Partey is in front of me, I'll tell him. Because of the way I love him, and I think we can benefit from him. And I'm happy they said the injury is not anything serious. I think if they were to lose him, they would not win the league.
Because Sambi Lokonga, yesterday, Friday night when he came on, there's a highlight of his behavior during the goal. And he's just dancing around.
No, I looked at that thing again. I looked at that goal again. Odegaard will have to show some bit of respect. If you critically look at that scene, you don't blame the young man for that.
And I think that there's an interesting situation brewing
that
between.
When you watch him, he was kind of in his own zone, not watching anything.
No, he had tracked, he had followed.
No, I'm talking about Sambi Lokonga specifically. If you watch him in that sequence, it's almost like he doesn't know what to do. He looked a bit confused. And I'm just saying, if Thomas Partey was there, Partey probably would have reacted better to the situation. So,
you see, Lokonga is not Partey.
Oh, yeah.
He can never be Partey. How often does he play?
Well, that's
He's
exactly
not experiencing the situation regularly.
Yeah.
You get better as a player when you go through the scenes. So you know how to
which is probably why the Moses Caicedo thing has become such a big. They're thinking to themselves, look, if Partey misses one game and we bring Caicedo in, who's one of the better midfielders in the league.
Look, that's not the large.
They are hoping to bring in Caicedo. They are saying they are going after Declan Rice in the summer.
A lot happening with Arsenal. Let me read a few messages that have been coming in. This one here is from Richard from Tesh. He says, what will Kurt write home about after the tenure of his office, after his tenure comes to an end? I think it's time we start investing into other sports than football. This one here says, good evening, Ben.
I agree, but not because
he says, good evening, Ben and team. For Ghana to be at the tournament and lose to Madagascar and Niger tells everyone that nothing, absolutely nothing is working in Ghana. Abdul Basit from Kufuridia. Richard Opari from Teshi says, I'm now convinced that our local clubs are not doing well in Africa. These are clear indications, but where is Kurt, the FA president, who said he would develop Ghana football? Which sports are we even good at as a country now? Omar, the poet from Ho, says, when leaders brand mediocrity with excuses because of favoritism and personal interest, disgrace becomes a norm. The people we were selling scraps to and buying earrings from are now defeating us in football. I'm shaking my head. I side with coach. Kurt shouldn't be retained. Even if he's retained, he should be closely held accountable for every action at the FA. This one says, coach, you do all. God richly bless you and the sports team. This one here says that the development of football in this country is a joke. Kurt should resign as FA boss. He has no vision. So we should kiss any trophy goodbye. This one also says, I thank God that Ghana is out and it will help the Phobia boys join the team this weekend. People have all kinds of motives for wanting what.
But I just want to comment on that. I found it strange that 2 players from the Ghana Premier League went to the World Cup. Yeah. And we took a break. Yeah. And we have a Chan team with 23. Yeah. Or how big is the score? 26, 23.
And we didn't take a break
in the league. I think we had that one backwards. I have to say. I disagree with that decision.
I mean, I'm not even for truncating the league every now and then, but that's a strong point. I mean, if 2 people go out of a league and if teams have to contribute mostly their star players to a national team and you don't think it's enough.
It makes way.
I feel like the Chan tournament doesn't get a lot of respect, but the truth is that if you watch what Algeria have done with this tournament, they've raised the bar so high for whoever will host it. But hey, Ghana football, I think that from the messages you can tell that people are not happy with the direction of our football. Let's move on to some other stuff. Let's do back-to-back highlights. Let's check out Preston North End versus Tottenham Hotspur. New boy Danjuma got on the score sheet for Tottenham Hotspur. They won by 3 goals to 0. Really convincing. And then let's check out that game also. Manchester United were also in action there. So back-to-back highlights, and they will come in here and discuss. To move to the next round, the United, a lot more. It was a lot more competitive in that game, especially in the second half. Reading came into their own. They got a consolation goal, 3-1. It's out that one. And the coach, let me start off with you. Let's start off with that United game. Interesting game there. United making quite some changes in the mix, but in the end, comfortable win. What struck you the most? There was Ghanaian interest as well, don't forget. And Diado and your good friend Baba Rahman.
Yeah, I think in that first half, Reading came, they had a game plan, very compact, 5 at the back. Don't give anything away, stick to the game plan and make it very difficult. So I think it was 80-20% ball possession where United keep playing. But the problem with United in that first half, they were not passing the ball faster. And everything that was done in front of the Reading defenders. So it became very clear that in order to break them down, one of the midfielders, either Casemiro himself from deep, or Ericsson, these 2, one of them will have to actually get involved in the attacking play, move off the ball to create the space. So if the pass is right and Reading were unable to pick him up, then of course he opens. And look, the audacity with which he scooped the ball into the back of the net clearly tells you that this is a player who's seen it all. He's won everything at club level. And he's made everybody look good.
That's a finish that will make a lot of strikers jealous.
Exactly. He's made every single United player better. Yeah. His presence alone, the way he does his thing, his execution of passing, tackles, determination, pushing everybody along is absolutely brilliant. And once the first goal went in, I think it was no longer a contest. The second goal followed immediately after that. And then the third goal. And clearly, on the part of Ten Hag, he needed to pull. Already, the game has cost Man United Christian Eriksen. He went off with a stretcher, and then most likely may miss the next 2 or 3 games for United. But having said that, is the price you pay if you are playing against these championship teams who know nothing by to be very, very physical. On the part of Spurs, again, the result wasn't in doubt, but it is nice to see Son Heung-min score. I
think he has only 5 goals this
season. And for me, look, he's that player. He's a good player who's been very consistent. But since he sustained that
facial injury,
even before that, he was a bit off this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I remember one of the goals.
He's been very consistent.
One of the games he scored where he was upset and really took the mask off and threw it away.
Since he sustained that injury, he's never been himself. But look, I don't think he's gone bad overnight. The quality is there. It's just a matter of maybe the World Cup, he's a bit of hangover and all that. Next season, we'll see him come good again. He's a very, very good player. And if Spurs can get him to be firing all cylinders from now to the end of the season, they may have a huge say.
So just quick thoughts on Danjuma.
I want to actually ask Coach something before we go. We are talking about defensive midfielders. Where would you rank Casemiro, Partey, and Rodri? Because this was something that came up.
Casemiro, Partey, and Rodri?
Rodri.
Oh, look, Casemiro is the best of all of three. Nobody argues that.
Who's next?
Then I think if you look at the importance of Partey to Arsenal, because without Rodri, Man City tends to win football games easily. But statistically, it tells you that if you were to take Partey out of the Arsenal setup, they tend to lose more games than they win. So in that regard, I would say Partey before Rodri. But look, they all come nowhere closer to Casemiro. He's a specialist in the position. He's done it for years, continuously at the top level. He's won everything with it at club level. So you don't, and we all thought he was coming for a paycheck at Man United. But you can clearly see the vast difference in class when he's there and when he's not there. So look, if I'm a specialist in the position, you can only learn from me. And I think Partey and Rodri will look at Casemiro and learn from him.
Well, Susu, I think you have to hold your thoughts for now. Let's take another break on the show. When we come back, I'll take your thoughts on Tottenham and what they are possibly going to do with Danjuma. And then also Manchester United. Harry Maguire was back in the mix. I was happy to see my captain. I know United fans are happy. I was happy that my captain was getting a run in. So we'll talk about that. We have some Liverpool Brighton as well. So do stay with us here on Scorecard. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Citi TV. My name is Benjamin Iketia, Coach Christopher Nimley and Susu Graham, my good friends in the studio. Susu, let's talk about Tottenham really quickly. That FA Cup victory was a breath of fresh air from what they've been enduring in the league. New signing Danjuma also comes in, hits the ground running. How does he complement what they already have with Kulusevski, Kane, and Son? What exactly does he bring on board?
I mean, I think if you compare him to Son, he's a bit better on the ball. He's someone who can get the ball, he can run. You know, Son is not much of a dribbler in that way. He's more of a finisher, good shooting technique. He can also use both feet very well. But I think he's more of on the creative side. So he's more like for like with Kulusevski rather than Son. Because I think the finishing of Son is something that can be replicated. But in Danjuma, you have another option, and he can play up front. You saw him in the Champions League last season with Villarreal. He's a quality player, but it looks like him and the new coach, Kiki Setien, didn't get along. So he's on loan at Spurs, option for 30 million. I think, but the problem right now I see with this Danjuma deal is it that they don't think that they'll keep Kulusevski? Because for me, I don't see him as an upgrade, and I don't see what he adds that you can't get from Richarlison already. So it just feels like he's just trying to fill the team more attackers.
Because they still have Lucas Moura coming back from injury as well.
Well, Lucas Moura is nowhere near as good as Danjuma. So if you want him as a
but
squad
if we are
option,
being honest, he's not giving Lucas Moura a fair shot. I don't know.
I can agree with that.
Seems like he doesn't like him. He doesn't
I think
trust
maybe
him.
he wants to play Lucas Moura as a wing back or something. I don't think he's tried to play him as a forward. But for me, the Danjuma deal is a bit strange in the sense that I don't see him improving the team. Because right now, what you need is an improvement in your first team. I don't think improving your bench is what you need right now. But I think if you look at Son's form, which we just talked about, maybe because of how poor his form is, maybe Conte doesn't see an end in sight to the slump. Maybe he thinks that, look, Son is never going to get back to what we know him to be. So let's bring Danjuma in kind of. And maybe the fitness issues at the front, because Son has been out for a while. Kulusevski has had a lot of injuries. Richarlison has had the only person who stayed fit is Kane. So and Harry Kane already is someone that we don't. His fitness is not something that he's not the type of guy. He plays 38 games season, most seasons. He's not like someone. A good example, someone like Salah. Salah rarely misses games. Salah is someone you can count on for 36, 30, 34 games a season. We don't see that as much with Harry Kane. So maybe that's the reason that Kane hasn't had an injury yet. So maybe we need Danjuma there, but I don't think he moves the needle in the sense that he doesn't improve their first team. He's a very good player, but I'm struggling to see what the end goal is with Danjuma.
United are still kicking in the FA Cup. They are kicking in the Carabao Cup. They look like if the teams
they're
on top
Carabao
of them,
Cup finalists. Let's
exactly. If the teams above them in the league slip up, they could surprise everybody with a late title charge. Looks like things are looking good at Old Trafford.
Things are looking good. The title is probably unlikely. I don't see Arsenal dropping form, and I don't see them being able to match Man City over the course of the second half of the season. But I think they are looking good in the cups. And I think from what we've seen from them this season,
you think Ten Hag is targeting a cup?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think from what we've seen from them this season, they can beat anyone on their day. They've beaten Man City, they've beaten Arsenal. I mean, you can talk about the controversial goal against Man City and all that, but even then, they were the better team on their day. So it's not like they lucked out in that win. It was more like a strange way to get the right result. So I think from what we've seen, they can beat any team on their day. So it makes them so dangerous. And I think there's a good chance they win the Carabao Cup. But Newcastle, who they are likely to meet in the final, are very tough customers. They don't concede a lot. So
I think, let me just add to what he said about United. I think if Kerr is not taking them a four shot.
In what sense?
In terms of depth. They don't have quality in
You
depth.
feel like United should have been busy in the transfer window by now?
I think Man United should have brought in at least 3 players by now.
In what positions?
Especially in the Casemiro position.
Okay. More cover?
More cover for him. Because you see,
they
when
don't,
he's
they
not
don't have
there,
another specialist DM.
when he's not there, things are not the same. So in the Casemiro position, and then in the striking position, because let's say Vegas, he's coming to replace Ronaldo in terms of numbers. Marcia is hardly fit.
And you lost Greenwood as well.
Exactly.
That's a lost number.
There's a huge lack of...
No, but still, they still haven't plugged that hole. I mean,
exactly.
if we are being
There's still lack of personnel, lack of depth in that position. And for me, if Ten Hag has to stick with the same crop of players, the time will come where he has to let go of some of the tournaments, some of the competitions. I think maybe that back-to-back game against Barcelona, I don't think United should go all out and attempt to win that.
European silverware?
If I'm the boss, I will sacrifice that tournament for top 4.
I agree with Coach.
So you take your Carabao Cup if you can get it.
Take the
try and
Carabao
go deep in the FA Cup. Take your top 4.
No, Coach is right because the value is the same. You win the Europa League, you go to the Champions League. You finish in the top 4, you go to the Champions League.
Well,
the only difference that if you win the Europa League, you are seeded. But that's the only difference. But
let's get to the camp of Liverpool. They have made it a habit of being disciplined by Brighton all season. So Brighton have literally beaten Liverpool or made life difficult for them at every turn this season. This was the latest installment of Brighton making life unbearable for Liverpool. It was the Japanese international Mitoma. He had the final say when this one came to an end. Let's check the highlights out on the... I mean, you can't help but admire that Mitoma goal. I don't know what it was. Defenders were bamboozled. They were caught in a trance watching him perform his magic. But latest installation of Brighton showing Liverpool who is boss this season, Coach.
Look, maybe we have to switch the coaches now. De Zerbi should go and coach.
De Zerbi is doing a fantastic job at Brighton.
Brilliant. Look, I remember, I say he formerly coached
Sassuolo, yeah.
I remember
he's coached Shakhtar Donetsk as well.
I remember speaking to Alfred Duncan about him. And Alfred was that this was the coach that actually changed his game altogether. He's a very, very good coach. He knows how to bring the best out of.
And it's crazy because they just lost Graham Potter. He came in and nothing looks to have changed. In fact, they've actually gotten better.
Remember, he lost the first
5 games.
He took his time to settle.
It was like he was taking his time to assess everybody. And he tends to make everybody better. And if you look at the way they are playing now, they are showing no fear factor at all.
Nope.
And that is what he's all about. I hear he's been lined up for the Juve job a season or 2 from now. But what was amazing to me in this game is the lack of bite from Liverpool. And it's becoming a norm. And I would say an unacceptable norm. Jurgen Klopp is on record to have said that this team is not going to see any more addition.
Yep.
And I don't think they will make top 4. I think Real Madrid will be happy with the state of Liverpool as we speak because they're going to beat them good home and away. The lack of confidence in the Liverpool team is so clear for everybody to see. They put, even at Anfield, teams now go to Anfield and match them boot for boot. The Leicesters, they have to score 2 own goals to get Liverpool to win against them. Nothing is happening. Everything about this team now is looking so toothless.
They won 1 game this year.
And yes, they've won only 1 game this year. That is atrocious.
It's only been a month, but it's 1 game.
I think it is the coach not having a plan B.
The
4-3-3, 4-3-3. 7 years, 4-3-3, 4-3-3, 4-3. The other coaches are not sleeping.
Teams have had time to dissect
They've
your
dissected
system.
you properly.
They've done proper video analysis on your game.
So
and
now
whatnot.
you can clearly see that the impact of his fullbacks are being limited. And that, in my view, is
But they can't even press.
They can't even press.
Teams just play through them. Like.
Just quick thoughts, your takeaways from that game, either from the Brighton side or the Liverpool side.
No, I mean, coach has said, Brighton look amazing. They attack. I think Liverpool looked
It's surprising because they are dealing with this whole Caicedo drama. You'd think that they would be distracted.
But I mean, I think they are kind of used to it. They've just said it simply. You know what? Until the end of the window, stay home.
If
Don't
you
come
want
to
him,
training.
Can put
We
80
put
million
their
down.
price there. Bring the
They
price.
put the price, 80
so
million.
just so you are not distracted, you don't come. You don't, mess up the atmosphere. You stay home.
Yeah.
Stay away from training.
If Chelsea needs you and Arsenal needs you, 80 million.
Yeah. So that's
No installment to cash down.
Yeah, so they've just left it, whatever, pay their price. They are just rolling on. And everybody looks, like coach said, everybody is playing well. And I was happy to see Tariq Lamptey in the lineup. He's not gotten a lot of minutes this season. And I think he impressed because there was a moment, I don't know if it was shown the highlights, I can't quite remember, where he kind of, Javier Elliott was one-on-one and he ran from behind and slid the ball. And it was Javier Elliott one-on-one. It was a clean goal. I think at that time it was 1-1. Or they were a goal down, I can't quite remember. And he kind of did that. And it was a key moment. And not only that, his shot was deflected. So I think he had a good performance overall. It was good to see him in the lineup. He's not gotten much chance to impress, but this will probably help. And I think the way De Zerbi likes his teams, his fullbacks to attack, get forward.
Yeah.
If he starts trusting Tariq Lamptey, I think we'll see a lot of good work from Tariq Lamptey because he's been one of their better attacking players. He had that bad injury. He's not been the same.
You know what's funny? Every time he's come on off the bench, he's always had at least one goal-scoring threat every game.
Yes.
10 minutes, 15 minutes. He's always either trying to get a goal or he's getting an assist.
So for me, look, I was shocked when I read that
Yeah.
they are actually thinking about selling him. I said,
Yeah.
no, they shouldn't sell. He's a good team player to have around. And he's gone through the ranks. And he's been at this team for a very considerable, since he left Chelsea, went to Brighton. He's been doing fantastic.
Well, Tariq Lamptey doing well there. Liverpool Football Club still struggling. Let's do some back-to-back highlights. Let's get to Girona versus Barcelona. Barca winning that game, asserting their dominance in the Spanish league. And then we will get to the Serie A Cremonese, where Felix Afenajan plays his football. They were up against Inter Milan. Inter having to dig deep to get a result in that game. So Sassuolo literally making light work of AC Milan at the San Siro, of all places. So quick thoughts on that one. Milan, they don't look like they are up for defending this title.
Oh, they should forget about it. Even top four, the way they are playing, it might be difficult. But about your of San Siro of all places comments, Sassuolo won their last season.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
So it's something they are getting accustomed to doing.
And I believe last season, Sassuolo were the first team since 1950 to beat Inter, Milan, and Juventus in the same season. It's not a very regular thing, but they still finished 11th. So it shows that on their day, they can play very good football, but it's not been their day since mid-October, when that was the last time they won a game. So for them to come to San Siro and score 5 goals is a bit much, and it's very disappointing. And there's a lot of problems, but you look at the defending for most of their goals. It's like they were walking through the Milan team. There was no defensive solidity, no defensive structure. And it doesn't help. Your team is defending like that, and it doesn't help that your second choice keeper is a hologram. He's like a piece of paper in the goal. Everything that comes at him just passes through.
I can't believe you just said that.
No, seriously, like
The goalkeeper's a hologram?
You know what's strange about this? There were moments where he had to be the keeper last season, and he did a good job. He saved penalties. So I don't know what happened.
Now that he's been given an extended run.
And he had eye surgery during the World Cup, because apparently he had difficulty seeing before the World Cup. So he had eye surgery. So you would think after having eye surgery he'd be better. But it seems like he's gotten worse. So I don't know what's going on. But there's a lot to think about for Stefano Pioli. A lot of my fellow Milan fans believe he should be sacked. I strongly disagree, because I think when you look at this team and you look at the investment in their team, I don't think the investment is enough. I think the management rested on their laurels.
To sell a couple more star players.
I think they rested on their laurels a bit after winning the league. So they went as proactive as possible in the transfer market. I think, and this is where I blame the coach. I think there's few additions that have been made. The coach has not made good use of them. I think someone like Charles de Ketelaere has not gotten a fair shake in the team. You see him, he played 45 minutes here, things are going badly, so you take him off. He doesn't get a chance to, so his confidence is short. Every player that comes in, the coach says they need time to adjust. He keeps sticking to the same old guys who, to be frank, we know they are not as good as some of these new players, but he's not giving them a chance. So it's very difficult to watch. But the truth is, Milan overachieved last season. So I think it's almost like it's balancing out. The overachieving is balancing out to underachieving this season, because I would say on paper, Milan have the third or fourth best squad in Serie A on paper. So they should be a top 4 team on paper. But last season, they overachieved, won the league. So, but right now, they are currently fifth in the table, and they are playing. Look, they've conceded the most goals in 2023 of any team in Europe. In Europe's top 5 leagues. It's not good enough.
That's mad.
So I expect things to change, but I wouldn't go ahead and sack Pioli just yet. I think if he's backed in the markets properly and he still is messing up, I always say you have to give him the optimal situation to succeed. And when you don't do that, you can't blame the coach. So let's see how things go. But right now, it's not looking good.
Quick one on Inter Milan is that they say that they will or they might not retain Romelu Lukaku. Now, that is almost a nightmare situation for Lukaku, because he's always postured since his loan move that he's not coming back to Chelsea. And I just want quick thoughts on that. What do you think should happen with the Lukaku situation? Just snap thoughts before.
If I'm the one in charge of Inter Milan, I'll get rid of him. Because he's not stay fit. He's not been the Lukaku, the soul.
He's barely played.
He barely plays.
He's paid, he might be one of the highest paid players.
He is, actually, he is. And so at the
And
end of the day,
they paid a substantial loan fee in
loan fee
addition.
to get him to come back. And at the end of the day, you want to maximize his output.
And we have to remember that
benefit
Inter
the team.
Milan are in a period of austerity, because
Exactly.
the owner lost half his net worth because
He
of
liquidated
COVID.
his Chinese
So
team.
he liquidated his Chinese team and said that the sports investment right now there's no money for it. So that's why they sold Hakimi. They have had difficulty in renegotiating Martin Skriniar's deal. He's on his way to PSG because they were playing hardball over the summer because they're trying to get the best price. They messed up. They lost their window. Now they are losing him for free. So things are not looking good at Inter Milan. They are really not looking good. So you pay a lot of money for Lukaku. You expect something. He's been outperformed by Edin Dzeko, who's 37 or 36.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
Just a quick one on Barcelona.
Yeah.
They
won 1-0.
Yeah, they won 1-0. I think we are seeing a bit more pragmatism about the way they are going about their things. And in my view, I think that is very good and that is very okay. Because at the end of the day, it's about staying in touch with Real Madrid, keeping it tight alongside them.
They are ahead right now.
And as we speak, they are ahead. Real are playing at the moment.
No, they drew. No.
Okay, so it means Barcelona is 5 points clear of Real Madrid as we speak. And if you look at the way they are going about their business, it's not been overly exciting and flamboyant. It's been very pragmatic. As and when they need to show how good they are as a footballing team, they will show it. But they are now beginning to show that they don't need more than a goal. I like teams who play like that. If we start the game at equilibrium, 0-0, and I break the equilibrium setup, and you are required to restore it. If you don't restore it, I win the game and I'm gone. And that's exactly what Xavi is doing. And for me, I think if they continue like that, they may retain the Spanish league title.
Let's finish off with some Bundesliga. It was competitive, at least. It was Frankfurt taking on Bayern Munich. 1-1 is how it ended. Randall Colomwani continuing from the World Cup there. I heard that he's emerged as a possible target for Manchester United in case they fail in their bid to get Victor Osimhen. Very interesting dynamics popping up there. Let's check out the highlights of that game. Randall Colomwani, the man who ensured that France would not win the World Cup. It was a big save by Martinez, but he's out here making up for that. That's just about how we finish off with the football. On the tennis side of things, Novak Djokovic was up against Stefanos Tsitsipas. Djokovic winning his 10th Australian Open title. Remember, he was banned from the last edition because of his non-compliance with COVID vaccine guidelines and whatnot. He came back. It was an emotional final for him, and he managed to win. Let me just take final thoughts from the guys. Coach, just final thoughts before we go.
On Djokovic?
Wherever you want to go.
Yeah, I think I want to comment on. I think, look, this has virtually cemented his status as one of the greatest tennis player ever. I think he will go on to set a new record because age is a bit on his side. His immediate competitor. When I say I'm talking about in terms of winning Grand Slam
Nadal.
title, Rafa Nadal is seriously battling injury to and fro, back and forth.
Every time.
Going forward, I think Djokovic may win 3-4 more Grand Slam titles, and that may be the record that others will break. Do I see anybody breaking that? Maybe, but then we'll be gone. Then we'll see what. But look, he's a super player.
Susu.
Yeah, just to add to that, I watch a lot of tennis at home. It's my dad's favorite sport. So you see, the problem with tennis right now is these young guys, every time they meet Nadal or Djokovic in the final, 9 times out of 10, they can't get past them. It's like there seems to be some mental block, and that's what makes it even more, because when Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer were coming up, when they met their seniors in final, they beat them. You could see their age, but these guys are like, it's like they are evergreen.
They'll give you a good game, but they don't have what it takes to go over the line.
They just don't have what it takes to go over the line, and and look, Djokovic, it's interesting for me because he came from the back. Because everyone thought it was going to be the Federer and Nadal era. That's what everyone thought. And he's kind of come from the back. He was always like, oh, this and nice guy.
He looks
this
like
guy
he's
was
about...
like a third. You worry them once in a while. And suddenly he just shot to the top. So I think his story is amazing. He's arguably the greatest tennis player of all time. Right now, he and Nadal are joint second. He doesn't have an Olympic gold medal, unfortunately. So maybe Nadal will say, my gold medal gives me a 23rd. But the way it's looking, and apart from Roland Garros, I don't see Nadal winning anything anymore. I think Nadal's time as a top 2 tennis player is done. I think it's Djokovic and one of the young guys. I think Medvedev is someone to be looked at. Citi, he did well to get to this final. There's Zverev as well. There's some interesting young guys coming up, but I think Nadal's time is over. So it's Djokovic.
Rafael Nadal continuously struggling with injury. Novak Djokovic out there, emotional final, showing how it's done. But that's how we bring today's show to a close. Thank you very much, Coach Christopher Nimley. Thank you very much, Susu Graham. Thank you for doing the viewing wherever you happen to catch us from. Thank you to lights, camera, sound directors, and everybody who made this one happen. My name is Benjamin Nketia. Same time next week, you know where to find our scorecard on Citi TV.